Uninteresting titles, innovation stagnation, early aggressive discounting, tumbling stocks, and title fatigue are all reasons that I thought that the next AAA game industry crash was upon us. But I got it wrong. It's actually been going on for the last 6 months. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why. One of the indications that a company is scared financially is when they stop taking risks, when they stick to the same formula over and over again. And certainly, regardless of whatever title you might be interested in, you can tell 2018 and 2019 releases look very similar. If you look at Fallout 76 or the new Far Cry New Dawn title, or even Rage 2, these games all, while yes, the gameplay is different, it's like they all got the same PDF on how to stylize your game. And to me, they all bleed together stylistically, and I'm not inspired necessarily to jump in on any of them for this reason. Right, so here we start with alpha footage of the Far Cry New Dawn. It's post-apocalyptic. It's got high concentration of neon, like this Fortnite color palette. You know, it's yes, they're all unique, but now we move to Rage 2, we have the exact same kind of looking thing. Post-apocalyptic, high concentration of contrast, neon colors, kind of that goofy, you know, Fortnite look. And yeah, again, the game is different in many ways, but it clearly is following the same guide. And we move to Fallout 76, post-apocalyptic. You've got some interactions with bright contrasting colors. While this is the least favorite of the three, you can see how similar they all are. Now, I realize that this is a bit of a broad generalization, but overall, you know, I think my point stands as just one of many. We also see a significant amount of AAA or franchise fatigue. When you expect the player base to get hyped up every single year for a new Assassin's Creed title, or every single year for apparently now Far Cry titles or DLC mini updates, it's just not exciting after a while. I mean, yeah, Battlefield is cool, yeah, Call of Duty is cool, but after you buy it and buy it and buy it year after year after year after year, and the video games industry has modeled themselves after the automobile industry in the United States, where you provide customers tiny incremental updates, just enough to make them purchase a new game and not a penny more, right? Then eventually, yes, that pays off because you're lowering your cost of development, but eventually the consumer is going to say, you know what? I'm not going to buy Madden this year. Really, all it is like new rosters and a new tackle move. Why am I going to run out and buy the new Madden? Or why am I going to run out and buy the new Battlefront? It's really the same thing. Or, you know, I'm not really going to go buy the new Far Cry expansion because, well, it's the exact same map, just with some new style and a little bit of an extension on the game. Yes, the hardcore fans will continue to buy it, but most casuals are just getting fatigued. And it's not because gamers as an economy have less money. Let me give you an example of where I'm at, okay? I have games that I grab next to me. These are games that I've purchased in the last few years and never even opened, right? If I didn't buy a new game for 2 years, I would be fine. Divinity Original Sin 2, still haven't played it. Gulf Story, just got that yesterday. Spyro, still haven't opened that. Bayonetta 2, haven't played it. Super Mario Odyssey, haven't played it. Fire Emblem Warriors, I paid extra for the Super Mega Premium Edition, haven't even opened it. Sega Genesis Classics, haven't opened it. All the way back to PS4. Dark Souls 3, I forgot I even bought this. Brand new, right? I go back to my Wii U, I never even played Bayonetta 2. It's still sealed. Zelda, still sealed. These are games going back several consoles, and I just still haven't played it because, well, life happens for most of us, and sometimes you just don't prioritize playing a game and you forget about it. So eventually I'm looking at, like, when I went through this, I said, well, dang, I'm not going to buy any new games until I play these old ones or I sell them. And that means I'm out of commission for the next 6 months. And to continue the many reasons I think we are already in the great AAA market crash is the early and aggressive discounts. We can see basically Ubisoft even noticing this with their Far Cry 5 expansion and pricing it accordingly. It's not hitting the market at $60 or even $80. It's hitting the market at $40 to $45, although much of the feedback, if I had to use the new Exclusively Games rating system, would be that people are going to pause on this. They're going to wait for it to go on sale. They're not in any hurry. A common thread I see from many gamers, to go back to my last segment, is I've got a huge backlog. You know, I still haven't even finished this game I forgot to show you, Final Fantasy X-2. I haven't finished it yet on my Vita. You know, I only take it with me when I travel. So it's taking more and more and more to get the video game crowd to want to pre-order, want to hype up for something. So what's happening is, you can't tell me. Look, if video game companies were doing, as I'm talking AAA, we're doing that great, would they be putting Fallout 76 50% off? Would they have put Battlefront 5, or Battlefield 5, sorry, 50% off? No, of course not. If they could get full price, they would do it. You're not going to convince me that, no, everything's doing great, they're just trying to give back to the community. Baloney. If Battlefield 5 was doing great, they wouldn't have put out this last-second promotion to all existing old franchise players to get the game at 50% off. They aren't meeting expectations, and a lot of this is because, not because they're not making money, okay? It's because they're not making enough money for investors. So they're going to accelerate their own deaths or restructures. Look, these companies are so huge that, no, they're not going to close their doors. I mean, EA could probably survive on their sports titles alone, but you are going to see restructures. You are going to see deaths of franchises. You are going to see major layoffs at these companies, and I think you're going to start to see it in 2019 because so much of these companies' futures rely on the investors, okay? And that's the next point I want to make. I'm going to show you why it's here, okay? Let's look at EA's stock over the past 6 months. Peaked at $144. It is now $83. It's lost 50% of its value. And market valuation, look at the market cap, $25.19 billion, okay? They lost huge money, all right? And you might say, Jeremy, it's just EA. Wrong. Here's Activision. 6 month, they peaked at 83. They have now plummeted to 48. Let's just say for easy math, they have also plummeted by 50%. I mean, that is nuts. You're talking about market capital of almost $40 billion. Want more? How about Rockstar? Look what Rockstar did. They had Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar, BioWare, all these companies trade underneath Take-Two Interactive. Look at their 6 month, peaking at $140. Right now, it's at $105. And I bet you if Red Dead Redemption 2 wasn't on this, it would be half. But still, that's a huge swing, right? Want to go further? Let's look at Ubisoft. 6 months, peaking at $24 a share. Right now, $15 a share. Nearly half of what they were. And these trends, look at the direction they're going. I mean, this is not, it's not in the middle of a bounce back. This is still in free fall. Look at EA. Now, you mean to tell me that this market reaction is just, you know, the market readjusting? It just has nothing to do with sales. And remember, people in the stock market aren't trading on what's normally happening right now. They're looking down the road. And the fact that there's this huge sell-off across the entire tech industry or the entire video game industry as a subsidiary of that is indicative of people aren't very excited about the future of these AAA companies. And it's been going on all year long. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about the stocks of these companies. So it's not coming. It's here. We're in the middle of it. we haven't yet bottomed out. And I think where we bottom out is probably Q1 of next year, Q2 of next year, when a lot of the end of year earnings come out. You know, guys like Patrick Soderlund from EA probably wouldn't have been kept around after the disaster this year has been, because investors just want more and more and more and more. It doesn't matter if your company is making billions, they want you to make trillions. And without these market investors, you lose a lot of your leeway capital to take chances. That's why you see them pump out new titles every year. Pump and dump every title. Half-finished games like Battlefield 5. They've got to get your money right fucking now, because their investors are watching. They're watching their sales numbers. And now the consumers are starting to notice, and we're starting to push back, and we're starting to say, dude, I have a whole stack of games I haven't even played. You know what, Battlefield 5? Maybe I'll play you in the summertime. But for now, I just found I had Dark Souls 3, one of the most difficult games of all time. Maybe I should play that. Or if I got Bayonetta 2, I just found my Wii U in my sock drawer upstairs when I was looking through for old titles I had laying around. I mean, I could hook that up and have weeks of fun. Why do you think the retro market is doing so good right now? Okay. Yes, you have kids like my age that are now in their 30s that have expendable income that are buying these like arcade one-up machines and retro machines like that. But there's also a genuine interest in something different. Even if that something different happens to be a game from 25 years ago, I'll tell you what, I never felt more pumped than firing up Castlevania on NES or Ninja Gaiden on NES. These are classic games, so yes, you get that rush of adrenaline, of nostalgia, but also it's like, oh man, side-scrolling at its absolute best. A brutal, difficult game with a killer soundtrack. I'm pumped for this. It's been so long. That's why these things are selling. Yes, we have money, people, you know, in my generation now who grew up with the NES, but that's why so many of us are now collecting original cartridges too. So we see the market is sick of these yearly releases. They're buying them at a lesser and lesser rate every year. People are getting sick of just generally the franchises. We haven't seen much innovation. We can see most of the titles are following the same formulaic method of releasing games. While the internals might be different, it feels like the same paint job applied to many different games. And now, when you add to this the fact that the competition is bigger than it ever was, right? AAA titles now are competing with indies at an all new level. They're competing with nostalgia. They're competing with retro. Could you imagine being EA and be like, dang, we're losing sales to NES mod consoles, NES retro consoles? But they are. For $60, I get 30 games. Okay, on the SNES Classic, you get Star Fox 2 alone. That's worth it. You also get Earthbound, one of the best RPGs in history. All right, so don't tell me that these companies aren't noticing this. And yes, they're not going to close. All right, EA is not going to close their doors. Ubisoft isn't going to close their doors. Activision isn't going to close their doors. But there will be restructures in 2019. I'm almost certain of it. And why this is a good thing for gamers is easy. We're sick of a lot of these titles. We still want to play first-person shooters, but we want something new. We want something innovative. And the only way these big companies are going to innovate is when they fail, when we stop buying their same incremental updates every single year, or when a third party comes out and really blows the lid off the market. This is going to open the market up to indies to come out and really make their mark on the world. And there are a lot of games I saw advertised at the Video Game Awards that look great, and they were indies. So 2019, I think, is going to be a great opportunity for indie development companies and retro, and I think that's going to be great for gamers. We can all just step away from getting on the treadmill of buying the same game over and over and over again, and we're going to start to move out and explore indies. We're going to explore retro. We're going to remember that the PS1 has a huge library of amazing games. You're going to see a lot of people getting into Raspberry Pis, playing games that way. I think 2019 is going to be one of the best ever for gamers and one of the worst ever for AAA game companies. And you know what? I'm not going to shed a tear for it. But I am interested to hear what you have to think in the comment section down below. I want to have a conversation about this. I'm looking forward to reading them. And I, for one, can't wait for the crash of the AAA giants. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.